Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the news briefing this Wednesday, October 29th. We are keeping an eye on the status of SNAP benefits, which at this moment are set to expire at the end of this week. We have Annette Gallegos here from our Department of Social Services to talk more about the status of SNAP, as well as give us some very important Medi-Cal information. Annette, thanks very much for being here today.
Yes, I'm going to try to share my short PowerPoint. Can you see it, Maya?
I can see your email.
Oh, you see my email. Oh, geez.
Very exciting. And it was to me, though.
Okay, let's see. Is it showing now my PowerPoint?
Yes, it's showing the graphics.
Okay. So I just wanted to go over, no, I think it has, is it in Spanish? Here we go.
There you go. Got it.
Okay,
fantastic.
Sorry.
Thank you, Annette.
Sorry about that. So due to the government shutdown, well, basically this means that benefits for CalFresh will not be on our beneficiaries' EBT card. It will not be loaded due to really the U.S. Department of Agriculture not sending really the funds over to any of the states. So for Monterey County, that means over 50,000 individuals won't receive those benefits. And even though, it is very concerning and disheartening for those families, but we do need them to continue submitting their reports. So their semi-annual report, their annual recertification, and any changes so that they continue to receive their services once the shutdown ends. And we are also encouraging anyone to apply that needs those services so that we can ensure that they receive them as soon as possible once the shutdown ends. So I also want to make sure that everyone understands that this does not affect CalWORKs or Medi-Cal for the month of November. So those benefits will be issued onto their card. So again, this is very difficult for our families, and we know that, and we are definitely getting calls, and we want to make sure that people understand what that means. En Spanish, so debido al cierre del gobierno federal, no se recibirá beneficios de estampillas en el mes de noviembre, que viene siendo beneficios de CalFresh. So, el gobierno federal no ha mandado el dinero a los estados para poder dar esa información. So, esto está afectando más de 50,000 personas en este condado. Sí es algo muy difícil para estas familias que no van a recibir los beneficios. Es importante que ellos sigan mandando sus reportes, que renoven su caso. Y reporten cambios para cuando el cierre ya termine, reciben sus beneficios lo más pronto posible. Si alguien necesita aplicar, estamos pidiendo que vengan, aunque por el mes de noviembre no va a estar los servicios hasta que el cierre se termine, pero por favor vengan. Y la otra cosa que queremos que todos sepan es que ayuda monetaria y medical van a seguir. Esos beneficios sí los van a tener por el mes de noviembre. Si necesitan alimentos, sí estamos pidiendo que vayan al banco de comida, o el Food Bank, o hablen al 211 para ver en dónde pueden agarrar beneficios o recibir comida a través de los bancos de comida. I do want to make sure that I actually say that in English, because I did miss that part in English, and that is that it is important that if any family needs food, that they actually visit the food bank website to see where they can actually obtain food, or they could actually call 211 to find their local food bank area. So those are the updates for the shutdown. As Maya mentioned, we also want to ensure that individuals are applying for Medi-Cal. So we have two huge changes happening for Medi-Cal on January 1st. The first one is that asset limits are returning for aged, blind, and disabled individuals. And that means that we have to verify all of their property. So property for anything outside of their principal residence and one vehicle count in their case. So they need to provide that verification. The limit is 130,000 for one individual. But what I want to make sure that everyone understands is that the important part is getting the application in and submitting their verifications. And if they need help, please ask for assistance from their worker or a community outreach agency that is providing that support. We will be posting that information on our Monterey County website so that people know who they can go to for help. The second one, which is a huge impact on more than really right now, more than 30,000 individuals that are currently receiving full scope benefits. And we want them to continue to receive it for the upcoming year. And that means they have to renew. And these are individuals that do not have satisfactory immigration status. It will be, Medi-Cal will be changing for those households. And that means anyone who applies as after December 31st will only receive restricted scope benefits for emergency and pregnancy. So if we are urging people that need to apply, especially if you have any health issues, to apply to ensure that you continue to have care that we want every resident in our county to have. And the deadline for them is December 31st to apply if they have not applied already. And those that already have it, that they renew their case. Again, it's super important that we keep our community healthy. And really as a whole health, care for a person, we want to ensure that they not only receive medical care, but they're also receiving food that they might be entitled to through any of our other programs. And that includes the whole household, whether even if that's one person who may not have satisfactory immigration status, but everyone else might have it. We want the whole family to receive the benefits that they're entitled to. So urgently asking everyone to come and apply that needs any type of benefit that we provide. So in Spanish now, tenemos dos cambios en el condado de Monterrey que está afectando Medi-Cal. La primera es para ancianos y los que están deshabilitados. Van a tener que dar comprobante y reportar todas sus propiedades. So, cuando una familia, una persona tiene su casa propia y un vehículo, eso no cuenta. Está excluido, pero todo lo demás sí tenemos que verificarlo. Lo más importante es mandar la aplicación o someter la aplicación y mandar la verificación de todo lo que tienen de propiedad. Si necesitan ayuda, por favor, es importante pedirlo con el departamento o con alguien que le esté ayudando en la comunidad. Esa información se va a poner en el website del condado para que sepan en dónde pueden ir para ayuda, no nada más en el Departamento de Servicios Sociales, pero también hay varias agencias que están ayudando en la comunidad. La segunda, que está afectando a muchos en nuestra comunidad, es la regla que está cambiando para personas que no tienen documentación satisfactoria para recibir Medi-Cal completo. So, efectivo el día 1 de enero, el Medi-Cal para personas que no tienen documentos satisfactorios no van a recibir beneficios completos, van a recibir de emergencia y embarazo nada más. Y el condado está pidiendo que todos vengan a aplicar, que los que son elegibles. Nosotros le podemos ayudar con esa información, le podemos dar información sobre qué son las opciones. Lo más importante para nosotros es dar la información y también que la familia apliquen para todos los que son elegibles. O pueden ser para varios que reciben Medi-Cal y otros para estampillas, pero estamos mirando a la familia completa para que reciben los beneficios que los que están elegibles. Más información se va a estar poniendo en las páginas del condado y le vamos a dar esa información para que todos sepan en dónde pueden ir a aplicar y no nada más en la oficina del Departamento de Servicios Sociales.
Annette, thank you so much. And I did stop sharing your screen there for a second. Anyone who has questions for Annette, you can go ahead and put your questions in chat. Annette, I do have a question. Is our local office staying connected with the state to get, the most updated information about what is possible? What is the status at the federal level? What are you hearing?
So we do get updates on a regular basis, and at the moment, the state is trying to really push to receive benefits for CalFresh in the states. But at the moment, there hasn't been any change, and as soon as we know of a change, we will be communicating that out. I think for us, the most important thing is for individuals to continue just coming and asking for information and coming, if you have an active case, to continue your process of reporting changes that your worker is requesting, and that you come in to apply or call our office so that we can go ahead and provide that information. I think the most, we are trying to put it on our Facebook page as well, and on our website when we hear changes.
And thank you. And we did hear from the food bank for Monterey County, and they could not be on the call today, but they did encourage residents who are affected by this to reach out to them. They have a website, and we're pushing out information about the website. You can reach out to 211 to find out where they are, but they encourage people who are in need to reach out to them. Just Annette, as you're saying, we're encouraging people to go to the food bank. Annette, do you have a minute to talk about how 211 is going to play a role for residents to find information?
So yeah, we are collaborating with 211 so that they can provide really the Department of Social Service information on ways to apply and how to keep your information active in our county. And it really is a collaborative, what I want to add is it's a collaborative effort from a lot of different organizations that we're trying to really get the word out and help with the application process. So more information will be coming on that as well.
Annette, thank you so much for being here today. I know a lot is changing, and hopefully the next time we see you, we'll have better news.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Well, Halloween is this Friday. We hope all the treat givers are ready for the day, but we really want to make sure trick-or-treaters have fun safely. And for that, we have BridgeAnne Davignon from the Monterey County Sheriff's Office with some safety tips. Hi, BridgeAnne.
Hi, thank you for that introduction. My name is BridgeAnne Davignon. I am the Crime Prevention Specialist at Monterey County Sheriff's Office. So today I'm going to be sharing some Halloween safety tips with you for our various age groups within the community. So for our children and teens, we do not want them to eat any treats until examined by a parent or a guardian. Check for tampering just to be on the safe side when you go through that trick-or-treating candy. Notify your local law enforcement if any harmful items such as drugs or weapons are found in your trick-or-treat bag. Now, if you do have any concerns about potential opioid usage within your community, you could always err on the side of caution and have prevention and engage with prevention. Means of prevention within the county. For example, at our Monterey County Jail, we have our fentanyl resources, our fentanyl test strips in a vending machine, and we were one of the first in the county to have a vending machine with these fentanyl test strips, and we also have Narcan, also known as naloxone, within these vending machines if there are any concerns in your community about any opioid usage, and that's free 24/7 access to those items for your health and wellness. Also, for our children's and teens age group, as well as adults in general, we do not want to invite any strangers into a house or invite any trick-or-treaters into someone's residence. When you're out trick-or-treating, remember to carry a flashlight and visit well-lit homes. Also, avoid costume props with sharp points, as that might be a hazard. So just make sure there's nothing that would obscure anyone's vision as well with your costumes. Be aware of your surroundings. That's highly important, especially when out trick-or-treating, as when you are trick-or-treating, there could be traffic concerns. So just be sure to be aware of your surroundings. We definitely want to educate the public, especially our children and parents, to have these conversations. Look both ways before crossing the street. That's a topic we have been focusing on with the community recently, especially our young elementary school children. Remember, for our parents, you could attend an event hosted by your local law enforcement, county or city, or other reliable organizations. And some of these could include like our King City trunk or treat that we will be attending. That will be at the Salinas Valley Fair Expo lawn. And during that time, thanks to our partnership for Toys for Tots, we will be able to give out a well-known family-friendly movie to all the trick-or-treaters who stop by at that trunk or treat. And that will be a great opportunity for South County residents to have engagement with their local law enforcement, as well as various community organizations who are participating in that event. Also, when you go through your candy, remember to check for choking hazards, food allergies, and definitely supervise your children when trick-or-treating. And if you are supervising a group, know how many children are within that group. Another important one is to take a picture of the clothing or costume that your child is wearing in the event that a child may get lost. Also, on top of that, you can include a unique identifier in their costume, maybe a bracelet or a necklace. So you just have a little bit more differentiation between various costumes that a child may be wearing, especially if it is a common and popular costume. For our adults age group, I just want to remind you all not to drink and drive, have a designated driver. And a really important one is to share your location information with a friend or a family member, especially when using a taxi or rideshare service, and know the license plate of the vehicle and the driver description. With that information, you can also know your taxi number if you are utilizing a taxi. You can definitely have that situational awareness, be aware of your surroundings, and do not leave any food or drink unattended at social functions. And newly added this year, we have our pets section. So pets are really important to our family, and they are our family members. So the Monterey County Sheriff's Office just wants to remind you to keep pets safely inside and on a leash. Keep candy out of reach and safely secured. So any toxic candy for pets who can't digest it can be safely secured and out of the way. And definitely keep your pet's collar and microchip updated, especially if you've moved recently, so you have that updated information in the event your pet gets lost. And especially since many neighborhoods will be involved in trick-or-treating, just remember when you open the doors, keep those pets safely secured so they try not to escape since you're commonly opening and closing your door to your home. Also, if you see any suspicious activity within the community, you can always go to our crime tip page on our website, which is easily accessible on this resource at mcso.countymonterey.gov, anonymous crime tip. And you could submit any information anonymously in that location. Just keep in mind that's not an official report, but that is a way to submit any activity that might be going on or reoccurring throughout your neighborhood. However, if there is a non-emergency and it's more urgent and you need to contact someone, because keep in mind this crime tip is not a report, it's just information of what is occurring in your community. So remember to call dispatch if you have a non-emergency, and that would be at the phone number 831-755-5111. Otherwise, you could contact 911 for any emergencies that you might encounter. So that is a lot of information. So we could continue on to our next informational resource, and that is the easy acronym called GHOST. So if Maite would mind screen sharing the next page. Or I could screen share it if you'd like.
She's working on it.
Oh, okay. So to continue on, Monterey County Sheriff's Office has a lot of information and safety tips to give you for this Halloween. So to keep it simple and easy to remember, we want you to remember to ghost. So you could generate safety conversations with your family, friends, and children. Have situational awareness. Oh, open and inspect your Halloween candy. So when you open that candy, just be sure that there's nothing suspicious inside. Also, when you are looking through your candy, if there are already any open packets of candy, discard those just to be on the safe side. Share your location with family, friends, and children. Have a safe and designated location as a meeting place. And the T in our ghost is remember to teach your family, friends, and children how to call 911 in case of an emergency. These are really important to review with your family, friends, and children because especially when you are in a heightened situation or if you are under duress, having practiced these situations, these scenarios or discussions of what could happen in an emergency, it just helps with memory recall and how to apply these common sense strategies when you are in one of those emergency situations or if you're witnessing suspicious activity. So please, just as a reminder, please report any of that suspicious activity. And then to conclude the final portion of my presentation, you could stop sharing the screen at that moment. So to conclude the final portion of the Halloween safety presentation, I just want to remind everyone to say boo to drugs and unsafe situations, yes to calling 911 in emergencies, and remember to ghost.
BridgeAnne, another fantastic Halloween tip presentation. I love that you've dressed up your ghost mascot. You've now deputized the ghost.
Yes. So remember to
safety.
keep those ghost safety tips in mind.
And thank you so much. Let me ask you that you mentioned trunk or treat that, you know, your office is going to be at, but we're seeing these trunk or treat or community activities really grow as opposed to, you know, people are going to go out in their neighborhood, but there really is a rise in trunk or treat or events. Why do you think that is?
I think because these events foster a sense of community, and we definitely want to gather together, especially several years after COVID, being able to restart these events and being able to connect with each other, especially for our deputies to show in a very positive way how we can interact, like our partnership for Toys for Tots, and just give back to the community. Along with that rise in these events, you just have to remember to attend these reliable community organized events. And just remember, because you are at an event, anything could still happen that's unsafe. So that's why it's important to keep these safety tips in mind. And remember that anything could happen. So be prepared for those emergencies. Know what information to give when you call 911. Know your location. That is such a key element of being able to respond to you as soon as possible within those emergency situations.
Thank you so much for the presentation today, and thanks Deputy Ghost also
Yes,
for being
absolutely.
on hand.
So remember to ghost.
Thanks, BridgeAnne, as always. And finally, on to our last topic today. This is about a special training conference that's coming up next month that is focusing on attention on a tragedy that may often seem to be less visible or less seen, and that is missing and murdered California Native, Indigenous, and tribal residents. this inaugural event is going to hope to raise awareness of that and improve relationships with agencies that might deal with these types of situations. And we're also very pleased that some of our county district attorney's staff is going to be taking part. We're very pleased to have people here to talk about this conference. We have Ismana Carney. She is an event organizer with Supporting Indigenous Communities Group. BridgeAnne Carbone. She's the mayor of Sand City. And our very own Matt Leroux, who is a Monterey County Assistant District Attorney. Thank you all for being here today. Who would like to start to talk about this event? Do I have to tag somebody? You're muted, Ismana. You're still muted.
Okay. Oh,
Gotcha.
I was pointing to my chief and boss mayor.
Oh,
Okay.
hi, BridgeAnne. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us. And this here is something that was an idea that came to my mind a couple years ago at one of the red dress events that we put out each year in the city of Seaside. And that was perhaps we may need to need more police training. So me and my co-chair, we started to think, okay, what can we do to get participation? And so what we are doing is just simply mirroring what we have done in the past at the Red Dress conference that we hold once per year. And that is also to get, we went out and developed a post police officer standard training certification with the state so that we could attract more local or law enforcement throughout the state. And we did it at between me and Ismana and with our partners with the district attorney's office and the many supporters to put on a free event where my mayors, during the mayor's meeting, they love to hear that there's a free training, which, you know, the jurisdictions would usually pay for travel rooms and the cost of a training. Well, we're going to do it here in Monterey County and offer that free. And with that, this is, to help with education. It's about a local case. I won't go too much into it because I know Matthew's here and I have Ismana here. So I'll probably let them just go ahead and maybe chime in a little bit. But thank you for having us.
Yeah, and BridgeAnne, I do want to talk a little, I don't want to steal, Matt's segment, but I do want to talk a little bit about what people will see and hear if they sign up and come to the conference.
So they will hear about a local case that happened here in Monterey County with a woman from Comanche Nation, so from Oklahoma, who was she was missing by her family. My understanding is they didn't know how to contact her, even though she was tribal, they were sending tribal money, a monthly check. They were from a federally recognized tribe. And so this is local. It's pretty much a horrific case, and something that has a long case that had been happening over many years here, in a neighborhood, invisible, no one seen, knew about this here. And it is to kind of alert, it's a to do outreach, to let people know what's happening here amongst, here in our county and our neighborhoods, things that, just aren't seen. And, Monterey County is a hotbed for this here type of thing, especially during Super Bowl weekend, different events, that happen here. We are a tourist county, very big for tourism. So things just happen in the county. But this case here is something that happened over multiple years. And here it's actually, I won't take too much from Matt, but in a neighboring city. And so I'm an Indigenous, Chumash Indigenous mayor. I've been with the city of Sand City 34 years. So not only do I do my community work with regional committees within the community for outreach to help benefit our community and run a city, but I also wear a hat for to be a spokesperson for the Indigenous communities. And this is something that is very much needed. So I kind of use that platform too. And not only do we see this in our community here or California, but I am on a local Indigenous leaders. So other public official Indigenous people throughout the whole United States where we meet monthly just on this. And because it's an epidemic and it's happening all over. So with that.
Let's turn it over to Matt. Now, Matt, could you give us a little preview about what you'll be talking about and the case? And I think there's another staff member also participating. So there's really good representation at this event.
Yeah. So I'm going to be presenting a case that occurred here in Seaside in 2017 involving the murder of a woman named Carney. She was a member of the Comanche Nation who had moved here to Monterey County in the hopes of finding love with someone that she had met online. Ultimately, she found herself in a situation where she was stolen from, abused, imprisoned, and murdered by someone who was claiming to be her caregiver. And so what we're going to do in the presentation is discuss the facts of the case, the investigation, how it all unfolded, what happened to the responsible parties, and what lessons we can learn from Carney's story, and how we can use that to prevent these kind of tragedies from happening again in the future.
Matt, I'm wondering if you can tell us, was there a resolution? Was there a resolution to her case?
There was.
Okay. And so, Marianne, who should be coming to this event? Because we've got these great presentations happening, this great information. Who do we want to get this out to?
So we would love for to focus. We did focus originally on law enforcement. We'll see how many we get there, because this year we did want to focus on that. But it is open to educators, health people in the health field. There are, I'm seeing the list of attendees, and it is quite vast. It's all over. So all over the place. There's people coming from all over California, if not from out of state as well. But it is you'll have the Indigenous communities. You'll have different tribal people attending from that were, they've been affected in their communities. So it's people from all over. I've been sharing, with different people. I know we'll have some different agencies there. I know tribal TANF, Community Human Services, which I'm on the chair, and they do many behavior health and different services, homelessness. It could all reach out to many people, from someone being, homeless to someone being trafficked. It's for everyone. So we want to spread the word, and it is a lot. It has been a lot of work, and I can't say more for our district attorney's office as well, for them to pull together to be a part of the panel. It's just, they're going to have wonderful speakers. there who will go over this case, and there'll be people who themselves who will be in attendance, who have been in these circumstances as well. So there's going to be quite an array of people. We're hoping to have, this may be a sensitive issue to some people. So I was discussing with Ismana this morning that we should have a quiet room, where people, because it may set off triggers with some, but it is it's something that needs to be discussed, and that's what I'm doing, is to promote this here epidemic that is happening not only California, all over the US. I think back in 2018 or 2019, I went to the White House and I brought this up with the vice president and the cabinet at that time. What are they doing to do with the epidemic of the missing, murdered Indigenous people that's happening out here in the West? And they said they didn't even know the numbers back then, and that's when they started to look into it a little bit. So, and hopefully we get a snowball effect for a snowball effect just for awareness. We're here. I'm here to speak for those who can't. So, for those missing, I'm using my voice to advocate for those people who are missing, or no longer have a voice, or have passed.
Marianne, would you give us the details on the event? Because we know it's next month. It's November 14th. Give us the hours, the location,
Okay.
and how to register.
Okay. I'm going to go to Ismana and let her because she explained all that. So Ismana, I'm going to put you on the spot. You might need to unmute. There you go.
All right. Are we good?
We're good.
Everybody hears me? Okay, great. So, so the details on the event are literally Friday, November 14 from 9 to 5. And Maya, I did send you flyers and all of that. It's taking place at Portola Hotel and Spa in Monterey. It's taking place in the Portola Hotel ballroom, not to be mistaken by Monterey Conference Center, which happens to be right next door. We're looking at approximately 150 plus participants. Marianne talked about the target audience, and yes, we've got a very broad target audience that includes tribal representatives, legal system, law enforcement, health and human services, educators, and all of the organizations that deal with what we call our vulnerable populations, where we find right in that vulnerable population sector is where the groomers go to sexually traffic, to human traffic, and to literally abuse and violate young women, young boys, older women, across the board, all the way to labor trafficking. So that's where we find our vulnerable populations within the MMIP sector. So within that population, we will find there's a surprising number, especially in our immigrant Spanish-speaking populations, where personally folk really identify with their Indigenous heritage. And so those are the folk that we're looking at, agencies, YWCA, Dorothy's Place, and all of the agencies and organizations that work with those vulnerable populations. Our general training is it's very professionally focused, so I wanted to really emphasize that. This is a professional development training. So we're starting out with a Native American, California Indian tribal chief justice, attorney in her own right. She currently is the director of the Office of Native American Affairs in the Attorney General's office. Her name's Janet Bill. She will be our opening trainer, and she will be discussing all of the jurisdictional challenges, the data collection and data sharing challenges, all of the issues and obstacles within the legal system in the broad sense that have given rise to this particular crisis within the systems, because no one makes an effort to find out if this person is Indigenous. If they are, there's no data tracking where they can actually track that. And so that's what's turned it into this crisis, because now, I mean, the statistics are that around 80% of Indigenous MMIP cases have no data tracking. And so Janet's going to be discussing infrastructurally in terms of the legal system, where the problems are and how we need to look at solution-driven activities towards that. And in the training, we also have Deputy Assistant Director Janet Bakich, Donna Bakich. She is going to be talking about sex trafficking, which is really the big sort of crime-related interface between the missing and murdered Indigenous people crisis. Is literally sex trafficking is one of those cores, and of course Matthew's going to talk about that. But Donna is going to provide a really professional and powerful backdrop to that. Then we've got Maya West, a retired attorney, now a consultant. She's going to be presenting a case study that had a good outcome with a Triqui woman out of Greenfield. So one of our immigrant population, Spanish-speaking population, who was trafficked by her own family member. And that's something that's a big issue that will also be discussed in terms of challenges and problems in addressing this crisis. We've got 2 Native trainers from Bakersfield American Indian Health Project who are going to talk about community strengthening, who are going to talk about Indigenous modalities and ways of then dealing with victim reconciliation, healing, tribal healing, family and community healing. So it's going to be a very powerful, and once again, I wanted to emphasize, this is a professional development training. So the caliber of the trainers is exemplary. I'm hoping that that will suffice, Maya.
No, thank you so much. And because really people are going to be spending the day and they want to know, what they're going to be learning about. But before we let you go, I'm wondering, for people who do not know about Red Dress Day, would one of you explain what Red Dress Day is?
Marianne, you want me to take that?
She shook her head yes.
Mhm.
And you're muted, Ismana.
Let me click that button. All right, we're good now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Red Dress Day was something set up under President Biden. It's a national day to raise awareness of murdered and missing people, Indigenous peoples crisis. So it's a raising awareness day. I have to say with much pride, with Marianne, under the leadership of Marianne, 3 years ago, we instated a Red Dress Day, raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous people in Monterey County, in Seaside. It was one of only 3 Red Dress Days throughout the state of California. It was a wonderful event. We had wonderful sponsorship support. Mayor Ian Oglesby comped the whole Oldermeyer Center for us. And we had a wonderful day. Once again, with panelists and speakers, and also cultural activities, dancers. We had a red dress art installation. It was very, very beautiful. KSBW ran a wonderful news special on it. And we've been doing it for three years in a row. And I have to say that this last year, from 3 Red Dress Days in California, I counted 37 across the state being presented and put on by community organizations, both tribal and non-tribal. So as a pilot project, it was incredibly impactful. And so what we're hoping with our MMIP training conference now, focused on into the legal system and the actual sort of the hard area of the crisis itself. We're doing that also, once again, under Marianne's leadership, this idea of coming up with a pilot project. So this is an inaugural conference. No one has done this conference yet in this state or in the country. So it's an inaugural event that we're doing in Monterey County under Marianne's leadership. So we're hoping that that also is going to represent a pilot project that we hope will be taken up by other counties and communities, tribal and non-tribal, throughout the state.
Ismana, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about Red Dress for people who don't know it. We look forward to the next one. And congratulations on launching your inaugural event. And we hope to see it in the years to come. Ismana, Marianne, Matt, thank you so much for being here to talk about it. And we hope for great success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week. We'll